Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. I apologise if I'm not full of the joys of spring today. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm sure all will be revealed as the chat goes on. But I made a commitment I was going to stream tonight, so I'm streaming tonight. How long we stream for is a completely different question. But yes, we're gonna kick it off anyway tonight. So let's have a look in the chat and see who we've got. We've got Christopher Warden in nice and early. Hello to you, mate. Peter said he's painting some Zulus as a test for the colour scheme. I just saw them in the Facebook group, mate. They're looking really good. Mark writes in as well. Mark Berracloth, hello to you too. Hello, Tiny War Games. Nice to see you in, mate. Rob Zunk as well. He's been smashing out some stuff as well. I saw that in the Facebook group too. Arnold is in as well. He says, hot news flash, the secret model revealed by Curse City Book. Did you guys hear already? Yeah, I've actually got some screens up just to kind of show it off for those that haven't seen it. So yeah, we'll have a chat about that in a little bit. Steve Evans says, evening all. And he says, anyone else excited about Stargrave? He's just started collecting a retro 40k crew ready for when the rules are released. I'm glad folks are excited about it, mate. I'm sure if anybody likes Frostgrave and you're into sci-fi games, this is probably exactly what folks are looking for. It's not for me, but it doesn't mean it's a bad game or anything like that. It's so I'm pleased folks are looking forward to it. Ortega says he can't stay tonight, but he hopes it's a good one. See you in the catch-up. There might not be much to watch back, mate. See how I feel as we go on. Blizzards, hello to you. Hello, Lord Maiden as well. Phil says, hope you're all having a lovely evening. Says he'll be getting an early night and will probably paint to the show tomorrow. A nice one, mate. Well, hello in tomorrow's chat. Warwick's in, not sure what the topics are tonight, but I'm still upset about how few copies of Pity and Pain GW had for pre-order, including in-person stores. It has me really worried for Curse City. I think that's something we'll chat about tonight a little bit, actually, because I think we're in a bit of a different situation at the moment, and I think GW are intentionally holding back stuff for their own retail chains rather than send them out into independent stores, which then makes people kind of go and pre-order straight from GW because they're panicked about kind of not getting one from their local store and missing out completely. So yeah, I think no doubt we'll chat about that at some point. But yeah, I think it will affect Curse City, and with what was revealed at the weekend, I think that's probably put a bit more pressure on Curse City as well, because I think there'll be a few people wanting that for the new Soulblight stuff. Excuse me. Chris O'Ward says, random ramble. New boys are a-coming. Beast snaggers, wah. And Blizzard saying, with his gremlins done, he's trying to decide between McMornan, Nakima and Rasputina to paint next. All three crews built and primed. Well, at least they're built and primed, mate. This weekend, I was building the, what's it called, the English Ivan box set. So that's all built, ready to be primed. Nakima's next on the table as well. I've also got... What's that one there? I can't even see what it is from here. It's another Explorers sort of crew expansion. And I also had something from Lost World Exodus arrive today as well. So I've got plenty of stuff on the to-do pile at the minute. Good evening, Christian. I hope you're well, mate. Christian was saying, I think I may have watched the Beast Snaggers video a dozen times or more. I've only just watched it before the stream tonight, to be fair, mate. I didn't really catch up on the weekend's stuff until today. So, yeah, it's nice to see the Orcs getting a bit of love for a change. Christian, it's never too early to hit the like button. You're not wrong, mate. Tony Owl says, hello, my lovelies. Fancy seeing you all here. Tony Bouvleiden, good evening to you, mate. He said he's picked up a brush for the first time in a couple of weeks and had a lovely few hours just painting something for the hell of it. Those are the best ones, mate. When you've just kind of had a bit of a mental block, or a bit of kind of, like, what would you call it? Just a bit of a hobby slump. Just sometimes just painting anything for the sake of it and not stressing about it. That's how you get back into it. Peter said he's just posted his Tetsudo on the Facebook group. I've seen that, mate. Yeah, nice work it is too. Peter saying, is it Monday already? Yeah, they do come around quick, mate, don't they? John Estel says, just join him while he's doing some painting and sniff envelopes. I think he means stuff envelopes for work. I'm sure you're not sniffing envelopes, mate. Envelopes. Chris says, I waved Monday off, but it showed up anyways. Tasty Brain Drain, hello to you, mate. Tony's... seeing there as well, he reckons it looks good so far, which is a bonus. That's all that matters, mate, if you like it. And Tony's saying to Peter, no fool, it's Sunday with the early birds. Chris says it's already Tuesday, for others it is as well, mate. Simon Edge, mate, he says, just a quick check-in, is the family okay, mate? We're all right, really, mate, but Lou and I both had positive COVID tests this morning, mate, so we're a little bit under the weather, as I'm sure you can probably tell. I don't really have any symptoms, but I feel like I've kind of just got a really stinky head cold, really, so I'm feeling a bit under weather. I felt rough this morning when I got up. I'd been fine all weekend. I felt rough this morning when I got up, And then as the day went on, I kind of felt a bit better. So I thought, right, I'm going to do the live stream. And then as the night's gone on, I've like tapered off, and I'm literally running on fumes at the moment. So I've got my cup of hot black currant that got me through the winter, and I'm going to stream for as long as I feel I can manage it, mate. But yeah, other than that, we're all good, mate. We're all good. Where was that up to here? I just jumped away there. There we go. And Tim Kelly says, Curse City's definitely put a Descent 3rd edition in the shade. Yeah, I think you're not wrong there, mate. I must have jumped well ahead there. I just saw Simon's message. So where was that? There we go. And Tim Kelly saying, evening all, hope you're all good. That's it, mate. Joachim says, good evening, folks. I'm scared I don't get my hands on a copy of Curse City. Every decent thing up for pre-order seems to be sold out right away at the moment. No more GW if I don't get a copy. And I kind of know what you mean, mate. I think it's one of those things, if you really want it, you've got to be ready. You've either got a Sweet Talk, a local game store to try and put something aside for you, if you've got like a good relationship with a local game store. But they, as I said before, they are getting much more limited copies now. I think Element Games in the UK, who I think are the biggest independent game store in the UK, I think they said on their email that they sent out that they got something like 8 copies, which for a business of their size, it's like your local store getting like half a copy kind of thing. So what they've done is they've not put any up for pre-order. They've basically said we're going to hold them back until the store can reopen again, and basically it's to try and get people back into the store. So I think that's as good as anything, sort of first come first served in that respect. Because trying to sort of let the website crash for 8 copies is probably a bit of a waste of time, really. But I think they're definitely they're holding back stock for their own website now. They can sell everything. They know they can sell everything. So why would you sell it to somebody else at like half price when you can sell it on your website for full price and make all the money yourself? They're obviously sending a few copies out here and there just to kind of keep people sweet and say, well, we've just got less to go around. We're not sort of like, we're not sort of prioritizing anybody, and we're just trying to share them out. But it seems pretty obvious what they're doing. James is saying evening all, and James is saying same here, Joachim. I think ordering from GW is the best bet. It is, but unfortunately then you don't get your 20% discount, and that's exactly what GW want. We were chatting about this in the Patreon group the other day, and it's almost like it's designed to get rid of those 20% discounts that we see all over the market. It's almost forcing people to accept that retail price is the retail price, and what will happen is those kind of hobby stores that are only getting like 2 or 3 copies won't discount it, because they know for a fact as well they can sell it at full price, so why wouldn't you? So it's almost like a kind of concerted effort to kind of squeeze out that sort of 10, 15, 20% discount that we see across the board. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes over the next few months. Spanky Taz says, why are you buggers? Nice to see you. Marcus is in as well, saying vampires. The vampire stuff at the weekend was very nice, mate. Chris Doty says, you look like one of those fresh eater coat things. I feel a bit pale today, mate. I don't think there's a lot of colour in my face. The lighting is exactly the same as it normally is. I think it's just the colour of my skin, mate, today. Simon saying, surprise, surprise. Tim Kelly says, Curse City, yeah, that was definitely put Descent 3rd edition in the shade. The Real Tyrium, hello from Norway. Hello to you, my friend. Tasty Brain Drain says, hope you feel better, Andy. It's one of those things where I feel like because I only kind of started to feel rough today, I'm either going to feel better tomorrow, like it's going to kind of like pass quite quickly, or I'm just at the start of the curve and it's going to like just go tomorrow. I'm going to get worse. So I thought if it's going to get worse, I probably won't be able to stream on Wednesday. So I'm going to make every effort I can to at least get tonight's streaming for you folks. Missing a whole week of streaming and stuff would kill me, to be honest. Warwick's saying Yokomi feels the same. I don't think they have a clue how many people will be using their pre-orders. Botters who break the setup for eBay will make out with them fast. The thing is with the eBay, like sort of the scalpers and stuff, I know they have kind of like software and stuff to go on and like sort of claim that kind of stuff, but sort of GW do not care about them really. They see them as legitimate sales, and if it means that they're going to be forced to go and pay full price from GW just sees it as a sale. They're honestly not bothered about it. Spanky Taz says, tonight I'll mostly be assembling a box of Warpath Plague Zombies. I like those Warpath Zombies, mate. VJ saying, good morning. Good morning to you, mate. I hope all is well over in Australia. Bobby saying, good evening all. Gap filling and sanding 6 Adeptus Sororitas tanks. I can't believe the amount of stuff that you get through me. I know it's your job and I know you're a commissioned painter, but like every time we speak, you're doing something else. The output must be unbelievable. Flighty Mammal says, waves from me and Sean. Hello to you too. Hope you're well. Nick, 2 jokes yelling says, what do you get if you cross a budgie with a lawnmower? I've got to find what this is now. Where are we at? What do you get? Oh, I have no idea, mate. You're gonna have to tell me now. I hope it's clean. Excuse me. Tim said he's working on some Stormcast tonight. Kodos is in as well. Nice to see you, fella. Marco saying, hello, gang. Nice to be back on a love stream. Yeah, love stream and the live stream, mate. Nice to see you too. VJ saying, hope everyone's well. Time for a cut back and get some paint down. Nice one. Warwick saying, for postage and packaging, I went to a direct local GW store who said they were only given 4 copies for pre-order and were sold out within 5 minutes. I'm in the US. Yeah, I can imagine, mate, that potentially because they're kind of they're behind on products at the minute, which is why they went to kind of 2-week orders and things like that. It wouldn't surprise me if they're physically making less copies, which is why they're selling more direct from their own retail chain, and it's a lot more cost effective for them to sell them direct from their website and ship them out than it is to ship them to stores, ship them to independents, where they'll probably sell them at half the price to an independent. Because the way it works with independents is the bigger the independent is, the bigger the discount they get. So if you're a kind of a one-man hobby store who might sell kind of like 2 copies of a big box set, you might get, let's say, a 30% discount, 35% discount. If you're a big store that might sell 100 copies of a big box set, you're going to get nearer 50%. So the bigger you are, the bigger the discount that you get. So it makes sense that they don't send lots and lots of boxes to these big independents when they can sell them and make 100% profit rather than 50% profit, if you like. I know that's not exactly how it works, but you know what I mean, margins and stuff. They make the full amount for up the retail price. Peter says, Nim says, hi, hello. Scott Long was having a few weeks since he caught a stream. Nice to see you, mate, as well. I hope you're doing well. Standard Tabletop says, hello, you rays of sunshine. Spring is here. Get those gazebos up for outdoor gaming soon. It's been a bit windy here, mate, to be fair. It's been pretty bright and sunny, but the wind's been making it feel really cold. Marcus says, sorry to everyone about Saturday for losing my mind over the new Soulblight stuff. Don't worry about me. I think you're not the only person. That's one of the things I was going to say as well, and I'll show it on this. In fact, let's flick across to it now. Let me just make sure I've got the right screen up, and we'll let me flick across to it. I am prepped, honestly, folks, but I've got some other screens open on my screen at the minute. So if we go to, I think it's, I'll tell you what. Let's flick back to this one. I know it's not on the screen at the minute, but it will be in a second. So we should see that now. We should see that. Let's have a look. There it is. Yes, so this was the preview from the weekend. And we're not going to go through the whole thing, so don't worry about that. But I would like to see if I can. Oh, there. These the Soulblight stuff do look particularly nice. And what I'm saying about Curse City, Curse City is now essentially like a start collecting Soulblight faction box. And I can see a lot of people just saying, well, I might as well buy that. Just I know people want to buy for the minis anyway, but when you see what's in this box, when you see what's in this release, I can see people just not even giving a toss about the game, almost wanting to just ditch the cardboard that's in it, ditch the rule book and all that kind of stuff, and literally just buy it for the minis. There was always going to be people that did that, but I think even more so now that we've seen these. It does say that I think it says somewhere that essentially, let me find, I'm sure it says that we're going to see Cursed City before these become available. I'm sure that's in the comments here somewhere. There it is. The eagle-eyed followers will have noticed many of these units look like they'd fit in fine among the cursed inhabitants of Ulfan Khan. Warhammer Quest Cursed City will indeed be your first chance to get your claws into the new Soulblight Gravelords, and it's opening its gates very soon. So yes, it does look like it's almost like it almost looks like a kind of a store collecting box for those. What I also wanted to show, for some reason my mouse has disappeared. Let me where the hell has it gone? I now don't know if it's where the hell has it gone? I might have to try and alt tab it, I think, and see if that Oh no, it's not going to do it like that one. Let's try tab. I don't know why my mouse has disappeared. There we go. So, Cursed City. So this is the novel that is coming out alongside Cursed City, Warhammer Quest Cursed City. And as mentioned before, the book includes a lavish special edition character card. The book including the lavish special edition one, there's a really fancy special edition book as well, includes a character card allowing you to play one of the heroes of the novel in your games. And the hero that it allows you to play is this battle mage called Morval Albrecht, I think it is. And basically says he can fight alongside, who cares little for those he fights alongside, and the way he plays is perfect for those that want a little bit of competition to their cooperative gaming. So that'll be quite interesting. And basically how you... I now have to try and find the mouse again. If I go all the way across and all the way to the top, is that going to switch up? Why is the mouse disappeared? Oh, I should have done now. Let me just go back to the main screen. Essentially, there's a box set which has like 4 mages in, which I think is for the Cities of Sigmar, and it is basically I think it's about £25, and I did have the screen up there, but because I couldn't see the mouse, it's closed the screen down. Never mind. So yes, I do think it's going to impact on Cursed City sales, which were already going to be kind of tight, I would imagine. It's going to be a shame if the folks that want to get it to actually play the game don't get their hands on it. I'm kind of nervous about not getting my hands on one. I don't have any stores that I have any kind of like sort of special relationships. I do have an affiliate link with Goblin Gaming, but I'm not kind of sort of on any kind of like special list or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be a case of first come first served, and I think it is going to force people to go shopping at GW's online store because we know that they'll have the most copies, which is a bit of a shame really, because it's making you spend more than you normally would. Vijay says, glad you're feeling a little bit better, mate. I actually feel a bit worse now, mate, than earlier, but I was feeling better this afternoon, that's for sure. Joachim says, Nakar, don't trust anyone who says hi to him. Ruas is in as well, nice to see you, mate. Dave Mackay's in as well. Luke saying, oh, bloody hell, sorry you got COVID, mate. Hope it doesn't hit you both too excessively hard. Sounds like it's giving you a good slap on the chops at the moment. Hope for a quick bounce back. It's kind of frustrating me because we've not been anywhere. I mean, we literally have stuck to it, like letter of the law type thing. We've been shopping though, obviously, because you have to go and buy food. We've had deliveries because things have been delivered, so who knows where it's come from here. But yeah, I think like Lou's been feeling a bit ropey today as well. Like she's kind of a bit more drained, a bit more sort of like physically drained, and she's lost her sense of smell as well. I don't really have the kind of sort of any sort of typical COVID symptoms or anything like that. But the sort of lateral flow testing that we did this morning, both mine looked like it was negative. And then when I looked in a different light, there was a really, really faint line on it. And so I read the instructions again, and it said, if there's any line, even if it's really faint, it's still a positive test. And it was like, oh, I thought mine was negative. Not that it makes any difference, because I've got to stay home for 10 days with Lou anyway. But yeah, Lou's was like bright purple on hers. Tasty Brain Drain says, man, that sucks. Sorry to hear about the positive test. Hope you and Lou recover quick. I'm sure we will, mate. And Neil Pilot says, COVID, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and folks just need to play smart and stay safe. I tell you what, mate, I am living proof that it doesn't matter how safe you try to stay or how kind of safe you play it. It's still out there. Like, you know what I mean? Like I say, we've done nothing. We've not been anywhere. We've not seen anybody. The only contact we've had with anyone is if we've been out food shopping, or if we've had like a delivery, like a postman or like an Amazon delivery or something like that to the door, or maybe a takeaway, something like that. That's literally the only contact we've had with people. So it just shows me even staying safe doesn't guarantee you. Tony says, go as long as you can manage, mate. Don't push yourself. We don't hold you to account under such circumstances. I'm okay at the minute, mate. To be honest, this kind of takes my mind off it a little bit, and even if it's just for an hour or so, it takes my mind off it. I've been kind of moping around today, so yes. Peter Cooman saying, get well soon. Dead Hand says, I've got my GW tinfoil hat firmly on. Marcus is saying, well, if I have to, there's the GW official store 266 miles away, so if I have to drive 4 hours to get one, I just might. I think the problem is, mate, unless you're going to drive there the day before and camp outside, you're probably not going to get one. I think the stores are not getting many. Your best bet is to go on their website and try and order it as it goes live on the website. Where were we up to here? That just jumped ahead. Let me find that again. Let's have a look. Where was it? There we are. Joachim saying get well soon. Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. Christian, I already set up with my friendly local gaming store. One of anything Beast Snaggers coming out. Yeah, I think you'll be all right with them, mate. I think that's just going to be like a sort of a consistent sort of replicated product. But I think things like this Pity and Pain and the Curse City are going to be kind of one and dones, I think. Where are we up to here? Yeah, Simon saying, doesn't everyone get fed up with discount code on discount voucher on web code after link though? I just love EDLP and love companies that don't mess around. To be honest, mate, most of the companies, most of the sort of games companies just have 20% off, like as standard. You don't have to put any codes in. You just go to their website and everything's discounted 20%. So it's not like you're having to kind of like find codes or any of that kind of stuff. It kind of is an everyday low price. It's just that's their pricing basically. They just always have discount. But I think as stocks become a bit tight, the first thing they'll do is they'll reduce that discount. I can see that cost going up. Tony saying, I feel rough now. My dog smells like she's decaying. William saying maybe she rolled in something. Nick says, shredded tweet. Oh my God, mate. I'd almost forgot what I was in relation to. Marcus says, my friend is a nurse and she says get extra vitamin C and D to help with COVID symptoms. Well, I've got my hot Vimto, my hot blackcurrant juice, mate. I've been trying to take in plenty of water today. So yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine, mate. It just feels like a cold, if I'm perfectly honest. It feels like I've got a bit of a head cold and I'm just a bit drained. That's how I feel. If it wasn't for the fact, like I only did a test this morning. Lou, like I say, Lou had basically lost her sense of smell and she felt a bit rough. So she decided to go and get like a drive-through test this morning. And then she was chatting to her sister on text, and her sister says, "Oh, I've got some of those like flow tests for testing the little ones when they go to school." So she says, "I'll come and sort of post some through the door." So we both did a test this morning just to find out, really, just to speed up the results. Otherwise, I didn't have any symptoms. I wouldn't have been tested because I assumed if Lou's got it, I'm isolating anyway. So it doesn't really make any difference whether I've got it or not. It's not like I'm going out anywhere. So yeah, if I hadn't done the test, I would not assume I kind of had anything. And James says, I was hoping for some biohazard warning graphics, mate. If I could have been asked, mate, I would have done. I did almost just kind of start the stream just tucked away. Stan says, throttling is definitely a thing. Posted in the group a few months with the maths. The increase in trade versus direct in the last 3 years amounted to around 20 million lost revenue. If those sales had been direct, it's huge, mate. When you have a limited amount of stock to sell, we all know GW are pretty much maxed out. And I see in Patreon, we had this chat about they need to invest, they need to get more production. And what I was saying was that essentially, if it depends how much they're short. So let's just use some round numbers there. This is the BlackJack legacy maths. Let's say they sell 100,000 copies of each board game, and there are 5,000 people who don't get one who wanted it. That means that you could have sold another 5%. However, if you're going to invest in more kind of machinery and more equipment to make more and more warehouse space and all that kind of stuff, and it's never ever going to pay back based upon that extra sort of 5,000 sales, the best thing you can do is just accept that 5,000 people are not going to get it and then maximize the profits from what you're selling at that point. And the way you maximize those profits is basically you get rid of any promotional activity. Store like GW doesn't have promotions, but what they do is they sell to retailers, they sell to independents at a discount. So the first thing you do is you pull back on that and you push most of your sales through your own online sales. And that way you maximize every single penny that you get for everything that you make. And I can see it being like that for some time now. I think independent stores, they'll get all the usual stuff, like the kind of like the army boxes and all the new Marines and the new Necrons and all that kind of stuff. They'll get all of that. But these big one-off box sets, I can see them being pretty much, if you want one, you're going to have to go through GW for them. It's going to maximize the pricing. Scalpers, they'll be buying them at full retail price as well to kind of sell them online and stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Lee Russ, hello to you, mate. I just finished listening to your latest podcast today, mate. Nice to hear what everybody's been up to during lockdown and what you're looking forward to. Tony's saying it's a bit windy there as well. Scott Latham says, Papa Nurgle got to you then. Yeah, he's definitely snuck in through the letterbox, mate, because I ain't been anywhere. Simon saying, sorry mate, off to play Exploding and Imploding Kittens. Great game, recommend to everyone. It's a great game, mate. I love it. No painting involved at this stage until the print rubs off. I tell you what, mate, I did see online the other day, there is now a way that you can play Exploding Kittens across Zoom now, assuming that the people that you're playing with have a copy as well. And there's a free rule set online which tells you to take certain cards out of everybody's decks, and you can play it like over Zoom or on camera. Everybody has their own deck and plays it that way, which is quite interesting. And Simon says, first jab down as he's old. Yeah, I assume that mine won't be too far away. I think it's going to slow down a little bit, but I'm still in the 40 to 50 bracket at the minute. And Neil says, I see the hair snapping in transport. The hair snapping in transport. What was that one about, mate? I don't know what we're talking about on that one. Tony saying, I do like the look of the Soulbite minis. Yeah, they do look nice. I'll be honest, I really like the look of them. I could see me buying some just to paint. I've kind of had my fill of AOS. I'm not really interested in buying an army to play the game, but I could see me picking up some of the minis just to paint. Hopefully I get Cursed City, and then that scratches the itch. And Neil Pilot says, non-metallic metal red armor practice, I suppose. Yes. Samson, do you think the new vampires will have adversary cards for Cursed City, a bit like the old adversary cards for Silver Tower and Hammerhall? I can see them being... We'll probably see some stuff in White Dwarf, I think, with like little kind of like extra sort of characters and stuff. But I think we'll probably see them being sold in expansions for Cursed City down the line. So if you remember, there was some expansions for Blackstone Fortress, which had like the Amble in and stuff, which were models we hadn't seen. But then there was also expansions which had like... what were they called? Plague... Is it Plague Warriors? I forget what they're called. The kind of like the ones that everybody has hundreds of. Like they came on all the Death Guard sets. What were they called? They're called Plague. I forget what they're called now. The Plague ones. The kind of like the human-esque looking ones, not the big Marines. There was an expansion with those in, so I can see us like sort of maybe seeing some of that stuff coming through in them. Andrew Fairbanks says, just got here, what are we nerd raging and brigading against tonight? We're just having a random chat tonight, mate. Like I said before, I'm a bit kind of under the weather at the minute. I'm not feeling great, so I haven't really had time to kind of do any research or get ready for any specific topics tonight. So really the chat is what I normally call a random ramble. It's entirely up to you. We go where the chat goes. If you've got any questions to ask me specifically, if you type at BlackJack Legacy, it'll come up so I can see it. If you want to talk about any games that's coming out, we can talk about the stuff that's kind of like is sort of new releases or any games you're looking forward to playing. It's completely open tonight. We'll chat about anything. Marcus is my friend who has a store, said he will pre-order me a Cursed City box. Let's hope your friend who has a store gets allocated one, mate. Otherwise, you're both going to be a bit upset. James said, I just purchased that box of Wizards. Damn you, GW. Christian sharing the link there for Patreon as well. Thank you very much, mate. I would love to try and push the Patreon up to 150 Patreons. That would make me feel a lot more comfortable that this has some long-term legs. We're not a million miles away from it. But yeah, even at $2, it makes all the difference, honestly. So if you do enjoy these live streams, you want to kind of come and hang out with the community on a daily basis, Patreon and the Discord group is exactly where to do it. You can join from $2 a month, and there are different levels right the way up to $20 a month as well. I've just been making some Patreon-only BlackJack Legacy objective markers, which I've been sculpting and printing on my resin printer. So they'll be a thing at some point in the future as well. So yeah, there's going to be some extra bonuses coming soon. Ari Don says, are you saying Cursed City will be a limited edition box? I think it'll be limited edition in the fact that it will sell out and it won't come back into stock for some time. I think at some point it'll probably come back into stock, like down the line. But the problem is, if it doesn't come back into stock before the expansions come out, then you're going to get people saying, do I buy an expansion on the hope I can get another box, or do I just basically give up now? Because if you remember, Blackstone Fortress went out of stock, and it's actually not that long ago that it came back into stock. So I don't think it's intentionally meant to be limited edition, but I think it will be purely by the fact that it'll sell out. And because GW were maxed out, it's going to take a long time for them to get back to printing more. So that's what I think. It's not that they're specifically saying one run and done, but I think it'll be one run which will sell out almost instantly, and then it'll take a while to go back and make more. So if you definitely want one, I would be ready at 10 o'clock on pre-order day. I wouldn't be hanging about on the fingers crossed that you can walk into a GW shop in a week's time kind of thing and pick one up. Warwick saying, yeah, this limited supply on limited run items has me just about done with GW. There are other companies that probably care more for their customers. I don't think it's a case of them not caring, mate. They're a business at the end of the day, and they are basically making to their maximum capacity, and they are making as many as they can. The problem is what comes with that is it sort of brings with it this false sense of like sort of prestige and this false sense of like gotta have it, fear of missing out type thing. And I think what that does is it creates a false market for it. So people who were kind of maybe on the fence might not have looked twice at something, are thinking, oh, I better pick one up because in 6 months' time I might want one of those and I won't be able to get it. And I think what happens is that just exasperates the problem. And that's what's causing GW like even further problems. If just the people like if we thought you could buy one whenever you wanted to, like if you take Blood Bowl as an example, the new Blood Bowl box didn't sell out on day one because the idea was it was just going to always be there. But there was also a lot of people already had Blood Bowl. There wasn't really that much different about it. So the instant kind of like, I've got to have this wasn't quite there. But everyone knows with these other boxes, things like the Pity and Pain, everyone knows they're going to be one and done. So everybody panics on day one and picks them up. Even people that probably don't even really want them. It's just this idea of like, I've got to have something new. GW haven't released anything for a few weeks, and I've got that, like, I'm jonesing for some new stuff kind of thing. And I think that because the hype they've got rising now with the Soulblight stuff, people will be kind of diving on this one sort of day one for a multitude of reasons, not just for the play of the game. Dave Mackay says, BlackJack Legacy, you need a hot toddy and a good sleep. Well, I've got the hot drink, mate. I haven't put any whiskey in it, but I've got a bit of a hot drink. Morgo says, there's really no need of buying Curse City on day one since it'll be available for the next couple of years at least. If I don't get 20%, I'll happily wait. I don't think it will, mate. Blackstone Fortress wasn't. It sold out. It went out of stock, and it took a long time for it to come back into stock. I mean, I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to hope that the reason this is kind of like dragging on and the hype train's almost kind of being derailed and it's dying off a little bit. I hope it's because they're making more of it. But all I would say was, if you want it, I wouldn't personally take the chance. I would try and order it on day one if you want it. If you're not bothered about it, like you say, if you can't get it 20%, you'll not bother. Don't worry about it. Just try down the line or whatever. But for me personally, it's something I really want. I'm not going to kind of not try and buy it on day one to then just be disappointed on day two kind of thing. Andrew saying, whoops, what was that one? Did you? If I can find that one now. Poxwalkers, that's what I was trying to think of, mate. Poxwalkers, thank you very much. Where was it? Where the hell was it? There we go. Mark was... Oh, yeah, sorry. Andrew saying, did you take a COVID test or a pregnancy test? Yeah, it was definitely a COVID test, mate. Eddie says, what's your thoughts on Warhammer Fantasy being less than 28 mil, like 15 mil? I would personally love it and would be good for GW because have to buy new models to play. It doesn't bother me either way, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. Warhammer Fantasy is not something that interests me, whether it's 28 mil or it's 15 mil. If it's 15 mil, it interests me even less. I'm not really into the small scale minis. I'm getting far too old to be kind of squinting to try and paint small minis. So either way, basically for me, it's not something I'm interested in. I wasn't interested in Warhammer Fantasy when it was still around. So for me personally, that's my thoughts, but I'm sure everybody else has their own personal thoughts. Luke and I might for once actually leave it to my mates to buy Curse City. They can take a turn for once. There is an element of that, mate, yeah. Margot says, what did you buy from Amazon that made you kiss the delivery guy? Probably my resin printer, mate, maybe. Spanky Taz says, maybe a false flag positive. Have you been fondling any Nurgle minis lately? For me personally, mate, it could quite well be a false positive, but Lou's lost her sense of smell. She can't smell anything. She got a really kind of strong kind of line across that test type thing, and she's waiting. Basically, she went for one of those drive-through tests this morning, and she's waiting for the results coming back off that one. So regardless, really, of whether mine is a false positive or whether it is a positive, I'm assuming Lou's is going to be positive. So we still have to kind of isolate for 10 days. So it's kind of irrelevant, really. Jay says, need Christian to prep something for Thursday if you don't fancy the D&D. Maybe Agadirk has the mother of all hangovers or gets eaten by a shark. Fingers crossed I kind of pull through this in the next couple of days and the worst of it's over. But, oh God, I'm sweating now here. I was freezing before, that's why I put my hoodie on. What was I going to say? Yeah, fingers crossed I can still make Thursday, mate. Marcus is in, right, I am shut in my room. We're having refrigerated air installed right now. We don't have aircon in the UK. It never gets hot enough for more than a couple of days for us to warrant it. Radek says, do you like the Soulblight Gravelord model sculpts? Are you more interested in their rules, abilities, and features, skills? I don't really play AOS, mate, so their features and their skills are kind of irrelevant for me personally. But I do like the models. I think there's some really, really nice sculpts in there. Andrew says 20% off sounds nice. It's just 15% here in the States, and that's if it's in stock. I think the difference is in the US, there isn't a law about price fixing. So basically, in the US, a company can tell, so GW can tell a retailer, you cannot discount more than 10%, or you can't discount it more than 15%. In the UK, there is a law that says you cannot, as a company who makes the product, you cannot tell a retailer what to sell it for. You can give them a recommended retail price, but you can't stop them selling it for 20% off, 30% off, 40% off. You can't stop them discounting it to whatever they want. They can sell it for more if they want as well. There's absolutely no rules that says that a company can force you to sell for a certain price. And that's the reason that we have bigger discounts in the UK. There are so many shops, there is so much kind of, like in the past, there was so much stock kicking about, there were so many kind of hobby shops up and down the country and online, that basically everybody had to match each other. Some companies do 25% off on pre-order weekend. So if you order in the pre-order weekend, you get 25% off. There are some companies do that. Most are kind of 20%. There's the odd few do 15%. But vast majority are kind of 20%, mate. Tony says, even without the discount, I'd rather wait and order through my friendly local gaming store than go direct. I think the problem is, mate, is like, I think everybody would rather support their local gaming store, but if a local gaming store isn't getting them in, then basically you're cutting your own nose to spite your face. If they're not going to get them, basically, like if you say, well, I'm not buying it from GW because I want to support my local gaming store, and your local gaming store doesn't get enough in or doesn't get any in, then you kind of miss out. Unfortunately, that's the way. James says, I do find it odd the GW stuff is always listed as 20% discount. Other products that get sold below RRP don't get sold like that. Games and movies. It's funny, mate. I think it's something Games Workshop are actively aware of because it devalues their product. Everyone assumes it's going to be kind of 20% discount across the board in the UK. And what it's done is it's really ramped up sales through independent stores. It's why companies like Element Games, why companies like Goblin Gaming, like Firestorm Gaming, like Wayland Games, it's why the bigger ones do huge amounts of money. It's also one of the reasons why they stopped the UK companies shipping into Europe as well, was because basically it was kind of undercutting the overseas sort of markup and stuff. It was cheaper for someone in Europe, like in France or Spain or even in Australia, for example, to buy from the UK and have it shipped over, especially if you're buying a few things. And I think they're actively trying to push that discount back up. And the way to do that is basically limit supply. It's exactly what Apple do with retailers and stuff. There was something happened a while ago around Christmas time where Asda was selling iPads at Christmas and they were going to discount them like sort of like 20% off or something like that to try, like get a little bit of marketing, get a bit of hype, get people in the store coming queuing in for iPads, loads of free press and stuff. And what Apple did was they basically just really cut back on the supply. So what happened was each store ended up like getting one iPad or something like that. They basically really limited the supply to them. So you can't tell companies what they can sell your products for, but you can choose to supply them or not. And that's exactly what's happening at the minute. Eddie says, get the finger deal to test your blood oxygen. I had it and felt crappy. My oxygen got real low and had to spend 10 days in hospital. If I was checking my oxygen, it could have been any worse. I'm not a bad. Honestly, like I said before, if I hadn't had a testing this morning, and if it wasn't like during current COVID things, I would just think I had a bit of a cold coming on. I've just got that kind of a bit of head cold. Andrew saying, can we get COVID via YouTube stream? Absolutely not, mate. There's too many screens and filters and everything else going on. And Andrew says, I hope you're 2 meters away from your monitor. It's the camera you've got to be worried about, mate. The monitor's irrelevant. VJ's saying, I've got one of those days where I just can't get my eyes to focus on the details on this Mini. I know what you think. That I put that new bulb in my lamp over there, and I'd been sitting painting last week, and I think what it is, I've got two lamps, and the one on the left is a little bit brighter now, and I think if I've been sitting for too long, it's kind of drawn on that eye, on my left eye, and I could feel it. When I looked away, it was like, oh, it feels really bright now kind of thing. So I might have to try and put another lamp at the other side to kind of equal it out. But I've got one lamp at the side and I've got one lamp above, which kind of gives me a nice kind of light for the miniature when I'm painting, but not for my actual head when I'm sitting there. Marcus says, I lost my sense of smell once. It drove me mad. I really rely on my nose. Tizzy Brinter, sadly my sense of smell is weak, so it probably wouldn't make much of a difference. Lou has a really sensitive sense of smell. She can really smell things that I like. I would just go, I can't smell things. She's going, oh, I can definitely smell something. So yeah, she's definitely feeling it at the minute. Steve Evans says, look, I'm not interested in buying Curse City. You probably got the plague from your supermarket. If you could see how some people shop, you'd be shocked. I hope you're both better soon. Yeah, no doubt, mate. I mean, unfortunately, it's one of them places that you have to go to. So yeah, it can't be helped, mate. And Tizzy Braintrain saying, yes, Exploding Kittens is great. Simon says, yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, it was on, I think if you go to Exploding Kittens website, I think the rules are free on there. Lee Russ says, glad you enjoyed the episode. Hope you get well soon. I'm sure I will, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was nice to hear you all just kind of sort of quite chilled, kicking back. I was playing it while I was sitting painting the other day, and it was kind of like... It was like just sitting with like a group of mates, like just hearing the kind of the hobby chat. I kept wanting to kind of join in the conversation. So yes, folks, if you're looking for a bit of hobby chat while you're painting and you're not watching my streams, check out the Average Gamers podcast. A real good mix of kind of miniature painting, war gaming, board gaming, and just general hobby chat. So yeah, I can heartily recommend it. Anna's in as well. Good evening, Anna. How are you doing? Scatterbreak says, Might you give AOS another shot when version 3 releases? I don't think so, mate. I kind of fell out of love with it when I played it last time, and I don't see much has changed. In my local area, it's a very competitive game. There's nobody really plays it on a kind of on a more relaxed or kind of sort of narrative kind of way. Folks say they do, but then they're practicing for tournaments and stuff. So yeah, for me, there's plenty of other games that are out there I'd rather play, to be honest. VG says, I haven't sat down to paint in a week, so I haven't been this close to focus in a while. So just lazy eyes. Marcus says, Plague Marines. Yeah, it was definitely Poxwalkers. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, definitely Poxwalkers. Stancy is talking about throttling. My jab was booked for Friday and it's been cancelled. Guess I have to go direct and pay full price. I think they have pulled some back at the minute, haven't they? Because I think what they're doing is they're using the jabs they've got available for the folks that are now have to have their second one because they're in that 12-week window now. So I think that's what they're doing. If you're ready for your first one, I think they're pulling back a little bit at the minute. Warwick says, if Curse City is a limited one-time only release, they will never need to sell expansions, with those who get it to play it will be so few in number. This was exactly what I was talking about before. About actually if you release expansions for a box set that's quite limited, your expansions are going to be quite limited. But I think the problem is you'll still get loads of people buying them, because look at the price of some of the Blackstone Fortress expansions, the price that they go for. So I think you'll get people buying them to kind of hang on to them and try and flog them on later. Peter says, not only have I gone off Curse City after all the hype and prospect of full price hard to get, I'm thinking my GW experience is going to get a massive turn down from now on, a downturn. I don't think folks shouldn't let this kind of stuff sort of put them off GW. They make some fantastic minis and they make some fantastic games. If you like their stuff and you can pick it up, why would you kind of not bother? There are lots of other companies out there making beautiful stuff. I've got loads of Malifaux stuff here. I've got some like War Cradle stuff for Dystopian Wars and for Mythos and for Lost World Exodus. I've got Mantic stuff here. I'm absolutely kind of like swamped in stuff. So there's plenty of other companies out there who make beautiful stuff. But I wouldn't use it as a reason to not buy GW. Just don't buy it because you don't want it, as opposed to it's you vote with your wallet. You spend your money where you want to. But if you want it and you choose not to buy it, for other reasons, I guess all you're doing is kind of sort of shorting yourself, really. Scott's just finished his Dreadball team. A nice one, mate. I've just been... yesterday I was printing some more of those Dreadball bases that I've been sculpting as well. So I've got my my Brocker team ready to go into those new bases. Peterson, he's got so much stock, I'll never run out. I think that's what happens, mate. Everybody is the same. Everybody has like plenty of stuff, but they all feel the need to to keep buying. That's just the way everybody is. Kodos says, I don't really like the new zombies. Old, rotten with roots growing it. The same models with fresh wounds and cloths is a big feel. With high price, Fireforge and Mantic are still better. I'll be honest, I like them if I'm honest. I think they're a bit different to everybody else's. Are they the best zombies out there? Probably not, but I like the style of them. Marcus is saying, be kind and drop a like. That would be very kind, folks. Thank you very much. Luke's saying there, what's your podcast, mate? Yeah, it is called The Average Gamers Podcast, mate. If you look for it, it's on what's it called? It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Podbean, it's on not Netflix, sorry. It's on Spotify, it's on all the different places where you get podcasts. It looks a very kind of retro 80s, kind of like blue and pink logo when you see it, mate. Vijay said he's busting out the magnifying lamp. I can't use magnifying lamps, mate. I've been thinking of getting some of those kind of... I use like reading glasses with a little bit of magnification when I'm just sitting on my own. But I have been thinking about getting one of those headsets because I honestly, I can't train myself. I've tried many, many times. I can't train myself with a magnifying glass where you lose the binocular vision. I end up not being able to kind of judge distance and stuff like that. I think you probably can over time, but I'm not sure how good that is for your eyes to kind of train you that, to be honest. Peter saying, get well soon. Thank you very much, mate. John Ashley saying, howdy, how's the 3D print coming along? It's gone really good, mate. I've been learning to kind of sculpt some things. So I've been sculpting sort of bases for my miniatures. I've been sculpting some like what they called like base toppers. So I've been using the actual bases and making little base toppers to fit in. So I don't know if you'll be able to see. I might be able to show you one. I don't know if I'll get close enough to the camera. Let me show you these ones and see if it'll zoom in. So I've been making these. Whoops. I've been making these base toppers. Which are kind of like wooden planks. And then the one I was painting on the stream the other night, the kind of cobblestone ones as well. If I can zoom on that one. So yeah, I've been printing those off. I've been printing some Dreadball bases as well, which have got like a little rear arc on them, and it's actually got the name of the position on the back of them as well. So it says like striker, jack, or guard as well. I sold my first set of those to John Estel as well, which went in the post yesterday. So luckily he got them posted out before I got locked down for 10 days. So yeah, I'm still enjoying the 3D print, mate. Like I say, I've been trying to sculpt some like objective markers, like Papillon objective markers that I can send out to folks and things. So yeah, it's going really well, mate, at the minute. James is saying Blackstone Photos was on shelves for a long time though. This is, I covered it for a good year on the shelf in my local GW. It definitely sold out, mate, and it took a long time to get reprinted. Maybe it didn't sell out straight away, but I think things have changed since then. And I think the fact that this is coming out at the same time as the Soul Blight release, and the minis will fit in really easily into existing armies. I think that's put an extra spin on it. If you remember, the Blackstone Fortress minis did get like stats and stuff later on, but I don't think they had stats from day one. I mean, Curse City comes with the AOS stats in the box for these models. Christian saying, get your OG t-shirts and hoodies. Thank you very much, mate. Andrew Fairbanks says, yeah, worst thing for GW to do to themselves is reprint a set and it doesn't sell. Yeah, and I think that's what happened with the Kill Team starter box. It's what happened with the Warcry starter box. They basically just, why reprint it? All of the contents are available elsewhere. If people really want it, they can still buy the stuff, albeit at a higher price kind of thing. Stancy and Blood Bowl sold out. They did a reprint which came out in January. Was it that long ago, mate? Was it? I I didn't realise it sold out, actually. Well, there you go. Where was that one up to? Disco Dolly says it's pity. It's or piety, not pity. Whatever it is. Same thing. Phil Campbell, good evening to you. Sam Palmer says, at the moment, distribution of Curse City is a big problem. No mind distribution. Yeah, I can imagine, mate. Marcus is saying, oh, nice, I just got my email to the Heroes Infinite Greek Gods link to the pre-supported 3D files. I saw those files, not the files, sorry, the Kickstarter for that. John says, glad I got in on the first edition basis for Dread Bull from a currently small boutique seller. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, like I say, you were my first customer. I have had somebody asking me about the giant bases, which I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't even know they were a thing. So I've tried sort of sculpting some today, which has worked absolutely perfectly. Unfortunately, I can't leave the house to post anything, so I'll have to have a chat with John France and see if he's willing to wait for them. I don't even know whether, unless I can get somebody else to take it to a post box for me. Yeah, because what I did with yours, John, was I printed off the postage label off the website yesterday because I didn't have any stamps at home and I wasn't going to go to the post office. So I printed off the label yesterday, so I had it ready to go, and I just went and put it in the post box yesterday. But yeah, we'll have to see if I can get somebody else to post them off. Eddie Haas is a friend of mine who manages a GW store, was told from GW all hands on deck this summer for mass demos and high traffic. Possible all-world fantasy is released this summer. Yeah, it wouldn't. It might well be, to be honest, but it wouldn't surprise me if we're probably nearer seeing third edition of AOS as opposed to fantasy coming quite so soon. Steve says, have you got your ticket for Clash of Kings and what's your thought on army size? 2,300 points. I haven't, mate. I mean, to be honest, I won't be going to Clash of Kings because Cardiff is an absolute nightmare to get to from the northeast. It's like proper out of the way. I'd rather go to kind of like London or the south coast. Things like getting trains across to there is an absolute nightmare. Driving wise, it's probably about a sort of 7 or 8 hour drive. And so, to be honest, I probably wouldn't go if it was back at Element Games or if it was in like somewhere like what's the other one? London way, I forget now. If it was in one of those, I probably would go, mate. Because I'd like to go to a Clash of Kings, but I think I'll wait for another year, I think, unfortunately. Points wise, I've heard a lot of stuff online about people sort of cranking the points up a little bit. It just means I've got to paint some more dwarfs now because I do only have 2,000 points painted. Marcus says, be positive that you are actually negative. I am positive though, mate. Not negative, that's the thing. And Christopher's saying, yeah, not if we're still locked down. I think anybody planning for a summer of high traffic is probably kind of jumping the gun a little bit. I'd be really surprised if they're wanting to do lots of demos of a new game this summer. Those shops are not big enough to get high traffic through them. So I think it would potentially be jumping the gun a little bit to kind of plan that one. Air conditioning in the UK is called window. Yeah, it's just called open the window, close the window. John says 15mm is only for Flames of War and historical games here. I wish there was a 15mm sci-fi game. You can have any game at 15mm if you just buy 15mm minis. That's the thing, and then you just scale it down. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that if you just change inches to centimetres, it pretty much scales the game down. Busey saying, evening everyone, sorry for the bad news. BlackJack Legacy, wish you a quick recovery. I'm sure I'll be fine, mate. Yeah, when it gets to 23, it doesn't get to 23 degrees very often, mate. Although it's feeling like it is at night. These lights are warming up and I'm getting a bit hot, and I don't have a t-shirt underneath, so I ain't taking it off, that's for sure. Stan says, Old World is still a long way out. I very doubt it'll be smaller scale. That would mean a total redesign. Yeah, I can't see it being a smaller scale either. I can't see it really breaking with what they already do. And I also agree that I think it's still a long way off. I think third edition of AOS is probably more likely. If you feel how like the stories that they're cranking out the books at the minute, all the Soulblight stuff, all the new army stuff coming out, it wouldn't surprise me if we see Lumineth and and the Soul Blight in a starter box coming out in the summer. Because what I did find strange was all the new Lumineth stuff that's coming out next weekend, like, is almost everything. I'm surprised they're releasing everything in one big wave. I was really surprised with just how much was on the order list this week. Tony Hamilton, he's back. Just had his youngest son turn up for a sleepover. Other half is working. Phil says, hope you're feeling better soon. Yeah, me too, mate. Danny the Boy says, retailers in Italy 25% off most of the time with no minimum purchase. I don't know if the rules are any different over there. I guess the difference over in Europe is the prices are higher to start with, aren't they? Tony says, I'm that weirdo that doesn't mind if I miss out. I'm not even cutting my nose off. My FOMO isn't that bad. No, I guess if you're not that bothered, that's different. But if you really want it, it seems daft to kind of just to not try and get it. To then kind of sit back a few days later and go, well, that's stupid. I missed out, didn't I? And it's like, well, did you try and get it? Because if you didn't try and get it, you missed out because you didn't try. That's what I mean. Lord Nova says, I plan printing up Grid Wars now that it's released on my mini factory. I've not heard of that, mate. John saying, I vowed not to buy any more miniatures until I get my needed airbrush parts. Got enough to keep me busy for at least 2 lifetimes. Yeah, I want Curse City because I want to play the game. Like, it's not like I'm buying them just because I want more minis to paint. And to be honest, if I do, or when I paint them, I'm probably going to just do a really, really simple paint job on them. I'm not looking to kind of go sort of like super sort of fine detail. I'm going to do some kind of like, sort of, what's it called? Like a concept type paint job with kind of like priming with red from underneath and priming from white from above, and trying to get that kind of like sort of creepy, you know, almost like the box art a little bit. I'm going to try and do that for like the kind of for the evil side, if you like, and then do the heroes slightly differently. And the idea is I just want it painted good enough that I can tell the minis apart, but I want to play the game. I'm really interested in the background and actually playing the game. So that's why I want it. So it's not like I'm kind of like, if I don't get it, I don't get it. I'm not going to kind of like stamp my feet and cry about it, but I am going to be trying on day one to pick it up because I really want it. Warwick saying limiting supply to friendly gaming stores is fine so long as GW itself has the difference in supply to sell its stuff. If I want something bad enough, I'm okay going direct. Sadly, GW can't even keep their own products in. They won't have enough, mate. They won't have enough to sell direct. That's the whole point. So why sell it to friendly local gaming stores and make less money when you might as well sell out on your own website? That's my point. Like, they don't have enough to go around because they're absolutely maxed out. It's one of the reasons they've had to go to kind of 2-week releases recently to try and catch up. It might be, I mean, it feels a bit close to have gone to 2-week releases to make more kind of Curse City or something. It feels like it might be more for something that's coming in the summer. Mark says Andy's going to throw a frat party or a fart party now in the living room, and Lou's not going to have, I think he said frat party, a fart party, not going to have a clue. Ed says GW have always been happy for friendly local game stores to discount because they want their games to be available in those stores. It helps with the perception of ubiquity. That's okay when you've got more than enough to go around, mate. When you haven't got enough to go around, you maximise what you can get for them. Things are different. Things are different now. Spanky Taz says, make the most of losing all sense of smell and get some ninja trumping around the house. Ralex says, when you're married long enough, you don't really need to hide it. Yes, mate, you're exactly right on that one. I wasn't going to stoop so low, but yes, you're right. Tony says, if Lou can't smell it, make up for it with roof tile rattling rip roarers. Spanky Taz says, the joys of trapping your better half under the duvet for a full rip fest. Dutch, they call it Dutch oven, I think, isn't it, when you do that? Lee Russ says, I wish we were on Netflix. I know I did say Netflix, didn't I? I was thinking of Spotify, and I don't think why I said Netflix. If you want to join our conversation, we'll be up for an interview sometime. I'd love to, mate. I feel like I'm part of your conversation when I'm sitting listening. So yeah, if you're ever stuck for a subject, mate, and you want an extra voice, I would happily get involved. Christian says, get your BlackJack merch, your caps, book case, not a book case, a case for your book, hats, hoodies and t-shirts. These are the hoodies, folks. So these are some of the hoodies that they do this one as well with a zip down the front, which I also have. They have BlackJack Legacy down the sleeve as well. Really nice quality. This is all embroidered in as well. Really nice quality, these ones. Peter said he's just got my Optivisor on right now. I can't paint without it. Is that what it is? The Optivisor? Those are the headsets, aren't they? Eddie Haas says this was the year they said Old World would come out. I'm pretty sure they said it was a few years away, mate. I don't think it was coming this soon. With the GW stores pushing employees hard for something this summer, it has interest peaked. I do wonder, mate, because they're closed at the moment. They're going to open again soon, but I can't imagine they're going to have be flooded with people. I think it's more likely going to be an AOS 3rd edition, if I'm perfectly honest. Marcus is saying a jeweler's loop is way easier than magnifying. We can't hear you much, mate. Really? It looks pretty loud from where I am, mate. I'll move my microphone a bit. Unless it was when I was at the screen before. Was it? That might have been it. It was when I was at the screen with the miniatures. That might have been it. I just bought some cheap reading glasses, mate, with a bit of a magnification, and I found that was good enough for me. It is, because I've just seen he drops it. Yeah. Where was that one up to? Robert Fanelson's in as well. Nice to see you, mate. He says, what's good from the US people? Have you spoken about Tag Raid? I haven't, mate. No, not yet. Obviously, Corvus Belly sort of mentioned it last week. Tag Raid is basically, it looks like it's some kind of battle arena with the tags from Infinity. It'll be interesting. There is kind of like a Tag Raid rule set kicking about, which was a few years old. I don't know whether it's just going to be a version or like a reprint, if you like, of that. I think it was like a fan-made type thing, really. But it's going to Kickstarter, which I was surprised at. So yeah, I'll be watching with interest, but I'm not sure. I'm not fussed about backing it at Kickstarter, if I'm perfectly honest. Where was that one? Tony saying, don't get me wrong, I would love a copy, but if it's going to be so awkward to get a hold of, there's plenty of other fun stuff. Yeah, that's it, mate. I mean, I'm going to try. I'm not going to kind of get upset about it if I can't get one, but I'm going to try. If I don't try and then get upset about it, then I'm just stupid. Eddie says, yeah, I have everything Blackstone Fortress and it's sold out in a flash. Now I can sell for like 200%, make an investment in Curse City and you can make money. Yeah, Stan saying there, it was announced early December 19 with 2 or 3 years minimum. Yeah, I thought it was years away, and it was before COVID as well, which has obviously changed a lot of stuff. Ed says, Blackstone Fortress came with the data sheets for 40k, then got kill team sheets later. I didn't realise it came in the box. I thought they'd come, but I thought they came later. I think the difference was with the Blackstone Fortress minis, they weren't sort of obvious choices, if you like, for armies. Where with the Curse City stuff, it's like I said before, it's like a Soul Blight start collecting box. Chris says he's in the USA. Upaland, if you place, it doesn't look like lockdown is ever going to end. It does feel in the UK like we're on the brink now. It feels like we can see the end of the tunnel and there's a bit of light shining through it. It does feel like it, but there's, as they say, many a slip twixt cup and lip. Like there's a lot of things could happen between now and then. Peter said, I don't mean I've gone off GW per se or the great minis they make. I think maybe they've reached maximum load. I said this in the Patreon chat the other day, mate. I feel like they've almost reached kind of like critical mass now. Like I don't think there's a lot of growth area for them to go to. I feel like, and I think that's one of the reasons why potentially they're not investing in expanding so much. That I just don't think the investment justifies the extra sales that they'd make. And I do wonder whether there's more going on. It seems at the minute they're concentrating a lot more on sort of moving their IP, more video games, more animated TV series, the Bandai stuff, the McFarlane Toys type stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if we just see them expanding the IP in other ways, and the miniatures line is just kind of is maxed out almost. Colin Scott said, I bought Blackstone about 2 months ago new for £70. I hope they support Curse City like they did for Blackstone. I think they will, mate, to be honest. I think they will support it. To be honest, I was tempted with Blackstone when it came back into stock. It's not that long ago it came back into stock, to be honest. Jared Harris says, Geordie Land to Cardiff is a worse journey than Frodo's trip to Mordor. I wouldn't be arsed with that either. Yeah, it really is a nightmare. It's not a very direct route. It's right out of the way. And even if you're not driving, if you're trying to get transport and stuff, there's so many changes and sort of like, there's just no direct route really. It's a bit of a nightmare. Drop His Own Commander is 15 mil, right? I think it's smaller, mate. I think it's like 8 or 10. Ed Hanley saying Laserburn's still available. That's 15. I've never heard of that, mate. Peter saying, yeah, Drop Zone is 10. Warwick saying, all the GW shops in the US are the size of small apartments. I cannot see them trying to plan for mass demos of a new game. To be honest, the ones in the UK are pretty small as well, mate. There was quite a lot of them over the years went to like one-person stores where there was one person like worked in the store. That was it. They didn't have any other staff. It closed on like a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so the guy could have like a couple of days off, and he worked like Saturdays and Sundays and stuff. So it was one way that they kind of like they pushed the kind of like the staffing levels down, and they had a lot of one-person stores. I'm fortunate that the ones near me, the one in Newcastle, is relatively well sized, but it's not big enough for demos and stuff. They've got like one little demo table, and the one in Metro Centre in Gateshead again is a decent sized store, but it's not huge. Like you get 5 or 6 people around the table, and you're kind of like you're touching elbows with the people that are trying to like look around the shop. So they're not like big sort of hobby stores. They're not big gaming stores. Yeah, John's saying Dr. Zone Commander's 10 as well. Peter said he's on an early shift tomorrow, so good night all, get well. Thank you very much, mate. And Lucia, if they went to 15 mil, that would just piss off all the people that were upset about it going away. I can't see it going to 15 mil because they're still going to go with, they're still going to go with like square bases and movement trays, from what I understand. And it feels if you went 15 mil, you'd almost be better off going with like sort of more like Kings of War with like sort of what they called, like the diorama bases. I forget what they're called now. You know what I mean. My head's a shed today. Yeah, like those kind of like fixed bases. Where was that one? Koda says Mantic's Warpath works well in 15 mil with centimetres instead of inches. Yeah, I would imagine it probably does, mate, to be fair. I mean, their models are not 15 mil, but then, and this is my point, you can play anything you want in 15 mil if you just buy 15 mil miniatures rather than the original ones. Not whinging about after the fact. That's not how you usually do your hobby. Exactly, mate. Luke says often not changing to centimetres and staying in inches actually makes ranges more realistic. I play a bolt action of 15 mil and the only thing that changes is the scale of the minis. Yeah, you could do that, to be fair. I think a lot of people go 15 mil or go smaller scale to physically play in a smaller space. Marcus says almost everyone knows I think Curse City looks so fun and is up me and my friend's alley. I've been foaming at the mouth. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. I hope I can pick one up, but as long as I try, I can't complain. Ian Inman, contrast painting. He says, I'm currently contrasting Blackstone Fortress and Silver Tower. Yeah, I want to do it super fast, basically. It's going to be a board game for me. It's going to be something I play. I'm not really worried about like how it looks for everybody else. It's more just because I like playing with painted minis. And for me, a quick kind of like fancy zenithal paint job is more than enough for a game like that. Stan saying, no matter what they do, Nerd Rage will be all over social media. On one group, there was a list of 50 things people wanted. Mission Impossible. This is the thing they've already started the ball rolling, like referencing a product that they got rid of, and you have lots of people who want it to be what they remember the game being, not necessarily what the game was, what they remember it being, and unfortunately, you're never going to please everybody. Luke says Grunts is a fabulous game based around 15 mil. Never heard of that, mate. Like I say, I'm not really into 15 mil stuff, so this is probably why I don't know a lot of this stuff. Kodos is saying depends on the army you want to have on the table. Centimeters help to get bigger armies. Yes. Kodos says, but I have seen people playing regular Kings of War with 15 mil models just because it looks better as there's more mass of models. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Kings of War, because of those multi-bases, that's what the word I was trying to remember before, it almost has a feel of a skirmish game because actually you don't have a lot of multi-bases on the table because you don't take individual models off like you did in Warhammer Fantasy. Like you might have a group of 40 models on a base, but essentially it's one base. It's one big base, but it's just like one big model. And I can see why people would scale down models to get more units on the table. I could see why they would do that just from a visual point of view. What was that Kodos saying? Kodos says, on the side, people are playing games like Blucher with 28mm models because it looks better. I've not heard of that either, mate. Luke says, I'm overweight, bad hearing, chronic back condition. I deserve good eyesight. Yes, mate. Marcus says, the volume was low when you were showing the minis. Yeah, it's because the microphone's over here and the camera's over there, mate. Yeah, that's what it was. I was just out of the way, mate. You couldn't hear me. I think I even had my back to the mic. Christian sharing the link for Goblin Gaming. So, yes, folks, if you are wanting to pick up any of the new Lumineth Realm Lord stuff that comes up for pre-order this weekend, yes, please do check out my Goblin Gaming link. It means you get 20% discount, and I make a small commission for sending you there. Doesn't cost you any more. In fact, you'll save a little bit of money, but it does help the channel. Barry Kleiber, hello to you, mate. How are you doing? Benja says, the last few Kickstarters I've backed, the backer kit is coming through GameFound. Why is that? It's just changing a different company, mate. To be honest, like GameFound are a backer kit company as well, but recently they've basically changed to being a Kickstarter company. So where you would normally back something through Kickstarter, there are other companies using GameFound to back through as well now. Luke, Standard Tabletop, who's in the chat tonight, works for them. So yes, it's just a different company. People get used to hearing the name Backer Kit because Backer Kit is a company, but yeah, GameFound is just another company that processes those payments as well. Colin Wakeland says, do you think the Games Expo will go ahead? Is it worth a trip out? First of all, yes, it is definitely worth a trip out. It is my favourite convention in the UK. It's the one thing that I do every year. It's a no-miss event for me. I absolutely love it. I go for all 3 days. I even sometimes go on the Thursday as well because they have like a press night on the Thursday night. So sometimes I even go down on the Thursday as well and go for 4 days. Will it happen this year? It's been pushed back till the end of July. So in the UK, the kind of if the government plans go to plan and we don't kind of have any issues, we're removing restrictions in June, which would give us another month and a half until the UK Games Expo. So if everything goes to plan, I can 100% see it happening. I'm hoping that it happens. I plan to go. I've already pre-booked a hotel. I'm one that I can cancel if it doesn't happen, but I'm absolutely 100% planning to go. If it's on, I'll be there 100%. But yes, it is definitely worth a trip. I don't know whether this year it'll make much of a difference compared to how it normally is. I know it's going to be slightly smaller because of a few issues, but I think the smaller bits are like things like there's a bring and buy sale type thing, which isn't going to be on this year, and I think some of the tournaments are being pulled back because of the less space. So they're keeping the main kind of like the main expo hall. They're keeping that as big as they can. But yeah, like I say, I 100% hope to be there. And as long as it's on, I'll be there. Peter saying GW movies for the win. Can't be any worse than the original Space Marine movie, that's for sure. Rob says, even as a die-hard Corvus Belly fan, I have zero interest in Tag Raid. Same as Defiance. If you have time to play either one of those, I'd rather play Infinity Code 1. I think that the different games, mate, that they're trying to appeal to different markets. It's the same way as like Aristea. It appeals to different players, to different people. I've no idea what Tag Raid's going to be, but Defiance is a dungeon crawler. It's a board game essentially. So yeah, it's just different. It's the fact that it's going through Kickstarter again. Part of me is just thinking, it feels like a massive. It's just a big pre-order type thing. I'm not sure if it's something that I want to get excited about now to then play in 2 years' time, kind of thing. Mark says the vampire from today's community article is absolutely amazing. It is really nice, mate. I loved it. It's definitely got a bit of a Pennywise kind of mask to it, though, hasn't it? John Ashley Smith says, if you don't drive here, you're a fourth-class citizen. If you don't drive here. I guess in the UK, we have sort of our transport links are a little bit better. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's a pretty small country in the grand scheme of things. So like the railway systems and stuff like that are not too bad. They're expensive, but they're not too bad. But yeah, I mean, I do drive and I share a car with my wife, so I do drive everywhere. So VG says the Mondays and Tuesdays shut. One person store is what I have here in Wollongong. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I think we in our Sunderland store, I think, was like that. I've been to other stores dotted about were very much the same as well. They're not big stores. I mean, it used to shut so that the guy could have his lunch. Like that's what the kind of stores were like. Ed saying Laserburn is the game that became Warhammer 40k. and was also the original system for Necromunda. Can you tell I'm old? Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm definitely before my time. I'm relatively new to kind of tabletop gaming in the grand scheme of things. Whoops, just jumped off my screen there. Let me go back. John says, I remember my D&D group talking about this cool game called Laserburn back in 81 or thereabouts. Unbelievable, it's still available after 40 years. Yeah, the rules don't go anywhere, mate, do they? John says, I'd buy 15mm sci-fi if it was available here. That's where printers come in, mate. That's why you want a 3D printer. Christopher says, isn't 15mm Fantasy War Master? I'm not sure, mate. That was well before my time. John saying War Master was 10 or closer to 12, but close enough. Tony says, I buy 28mm plus because they're fun to paint. I'm not fussed about armies. I'd scale up for painting fun. Yeah, I'm the same, mate. Like, for me, the enjoyment, I will paint a lot more than I will play in general, especially at the minute. I get most of my enjoyment from sitting painting and like the relaxation from that kind of stuff. I'm not good, but I enjoy doing it. And for me, painting the small ones just feels like a chore. I'd much prefer painting bigger models. Connor says, evening all, sorry you've been lingering around, hope you're feeling alright. I'm kind of getting a bit of a sweat on here, mate, to be honest. But I'm okay at the minute. We'll keep going till at least past, and I'll see how I feel after that. But I am starting to burn up with the lights on here, to be fair. Kodos says, Blue Shit is a Napoleonic game on brigade division level, meant for 6mm models, yet people use 3 to 6 28mm models per unit instead. Right, mate. The historical stuff's not really my bag. I don't know a lot about it, to be honest. John says, missed most of this. Cooking dinner after another resounding success, though. Good stuff, mate. Jared said, the UK Games Expo is awesome. I love it. Can get some bargain second-hand games at it too. Yeah, I think that's not happening this year, mate, to be fair. I picked up a load of Scale 75 paints at UK Games Expo 2019 and some cool board games. Yeah, Luke's explained about GameFound. John says, public transport here is very unfunny joke. Hope you have all day to get where you want to go. Tony says, sorry to say that I won't attend the expo. I struggle to hang around for more than an hour. A lot of travel for a shopping trip. Yeah, the expo is a bit different, mate. I see sort of Salute is a long way to travel for like an hour's shopping trip, to be honest. But the expo is different. It's a case of go and try games. You go and demo lots of games. There's like an area where you can sit and just play games with friends and meet up with people. Like there's events that go on all day. There's stuff that happens in the evenings as well where you can kind of sit and hang out. It's an opportunity to kind of go for dinner with friends and stuff like that. I use it as like a business opportunity as well. So I set up meetings with different companies and things. It's definitely more interactive. There's a lot more stuff to do. So it's not, if you've been to Salute and you think it's like Salute, it's nothing like that. Salute is a big shopping market, basically, where you wander around the stalls and you look for things to buy, but there's nowhere to sit, there's nowhere to go and eat, there's nowhere to hang out. Like you're over and done within about an hour once you've wandered around. The expo, like I say, I normally go for 3 or 4 days, and there's stuff to do for the full like sort of 3 days because you spend time playing games with friends and stuff as well. Where are we up to here? Zingbo says, the Warhammer store in Edinburgh relocated last year. It seems to be reasonably large by the standards of many stores. I saw the picture, mate. I think actually the Edinburgh store's a new one, I think. Like, I think it's when you're seeing it relocated, I think they relocated to a bigger site. Christian saying, if you're shopping on Amazon, don't forget the affiliate link as well. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, if you shop through my link, you pay exactly the same price, but I make a small commission from that. These are all the ways that you can help out the channel when you're just going about your normal business, really. It's all the little things that basically just help keep the lights on here. Sundered Sykes says, morning all. Hi Andy, getting ready for work. What have I missed? We're just having a bit of a rambly chat tonight, mate. I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm kind of boiling away with these lights on here as well. So we're going to go on till about 10:30 and we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm starting to flag a bit now. John says, I'm one of those demented types who likes to paint small miniatures. Paint small, game big. Yeah, it's not my kind of thing. Benja says, what's this about limited availability of Curse City? I just think, mate, that the way things are with Games Workshop at the minute, they can't keep up with demand. It's going to be very popular. So my assumption, and this is just my assumption, it's my guess, my prediction. I have no inside information. Don't take this as fact. This is just me kind of spitballing ideas. I think it's going to be sort of limited It's going to be limited volume, certainly at first, until they then go back and do another print run. But if you want it and you don't want to miss out, I'd recommend you pre-order it on pre-order day. Foible Games says, I loved painting Time of Legends Joan of Arc, usually paint 28-30mm, so the switch to 15mm was a welcome distraction. I intended to paint my Joan of Arc stuff, mate, but I didn't like the game, if I'm perfectly honest. I didn't. It took way too long to set up. It took way too long to break down. And I wanted to try the game out before I decided to paint anything. And I just didn't enjoy the game, mate. So it's all still in the boxes, largely untouched. A full, all-in pledge. One of everything was sent to me by Mythic Games. All of the expansions, all the extra bits and pieces, all of the kind of the RPG book and everything. They sent me one of everything, and I just don't like the game, mate. It's not for me. Rob Fanelson says, I'm not a fan of Kickstarter myself. I'd rather them fill in holes in armies without proper or updated minis than do a new game. I'm hyped for Ariadne and Nomads in Code 1 though. To be honest, mate, it's just the way companies raise money. It's not even a way to kind of fill in the blanks. It's a way to it's a way to make money slightly more quickly. Basically, it's like, expanding it into other things. Ariel Sanchez says, hi guys, nice to join you all after a tough long day. I hope you're well, Ariel. Tasty Brain Drain says, excellent, I'm done with work, so time to put my time, log out and kick back. Nice one. Zingbo says, I went to the expo in 2019. I play a lot of RPGs there as well as going around the trade halls. I wouldn't have wanted to hang around for more than a day if I wasn't playing RPGs for a lot of it though. Yeah, I get that, mate. If you're just going as basically like a shopping trip to walk around, then maybe a day's enough. But I don't do that. Like I kind of go and I demo lots of different games. So I have demos set up to kind of demo lots of different games. I have games set up to play with like friends and stuff. So we'll buy games while we're there maybe, and then go and sit in the open gaming sessions. We'll sit on a night time and kind of have a catch up and have a beer and have a bit of food and stuff. For me, it's almost like a mini holiday type thing. I absolutely love it. But it's an opportunity for me to catch up with folks that I might only get to see once a year. Luke says, I go for the evenings of expo weekends more than the daytime. Yeah, exactly that, mate. Exactly that. Gary Barber says, hello, have you tried Grimdark Future? I discovered them a few weeks ago and I'm loving it. My father-in-law bought a load of Space Marines only to find Warhammer is a bit too complicated. Hello, Gary. I've not tried it, mate. I think I've heard the name, but I don't know much about it, if I'm perfectly honest. Connor said, with the Amazon link, is it any product or just the one it links to? Sorry if that's a thick question. It's not a thick question, mate. It's anything at all, mate. So basically, if you just click that link, it takes you through to Amazon and then just shop as normal. Search for whatever you want to buy, and it basically just it puts a cookie on your system, which basically remembers that you're shopping through my link. So each time you shop on Amazon, if you click that link first and it takes you through, then it'll basically just track that, and I'll make a small, like the commissions maybe like 1 or 2% on things. I'm not getting rich from it, like, put it that way, but it's all those little things that just mount up over time, and it just helps me again have a little bit of extra income. Doesn't cost you anything if you're shopping there anywhere, and it just helps with a little bit extra towards the channel. Tiberius Wallace, nice to see you, mate. He says Warhammer Edinburgh is massive. I thought I saw pictures of it, mate. Derek says, you must have gone to a different salute than I did. I'm not a fan of Salute at all, mate. Honestly, like it's just a big shopping trip. You just wander around the halls. The last time I was there, it was getting worse as well, because a lot of the stalls were Kickstarters, so there wasn't even anything to buy. They were just showing Kickstarters that they were sort of running off. There's nowhere to sit. Like, there's nowhere to sit and play games. There's nowhere to really sit and chat. And the food options in the XL building are pretty garbage, to be honest. I mean, it's like Subway. There's a baker's there. There's no like restaurants or anything like that. It's not a fun experience, mate. Gary says, we downloaded the rules and we're playing the same night. Great, mate. Sunday Sykes says, oh no, I hope you're feeling better soon, mate. Christopher Warden says, UK Games Expo equals Adepticon. I would say UK Games Expo is more like Gen Con on a much smaller scale. Adepticon is very much more miniature games related. UK Games Expo is much more board games related. I would say more so. It does have a lot of miniature game stuff there, like Games Workshop are there, War Cradle are there, Mantic Games are always there as well. But I would say it was more like Gen Con on a way smaller scale. Kodos says, now I understand why you were not into Battletech. It's kind of a historical game in space. I'm not a huge fan of kind of like sort of battling robots, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. There's nothing I've never played the game. The aesthetic doesn't really do it for me. Lord Maiden says, I've nearly finished my 6th Dreadball team. Please choose one, the Renton's Rejects or the Long Rock Lifers. Go for the Renton's Rejects, mate. I've seen loads of people painting the Long Rock Lifers. So yeah, go for Renton's Rejects. Johnson, he loves the Battletech miniatures, love the rule set. My group play a stripped down version of the rules we concocted ourselves. I think I've heard lots of different people saying about there's a simplified version of Battletech, but yeah, I'm not that up on it. Joshua Hatch, says, hello mate, nice to see you. He says, you've got to use those Joan of Arc models in something else. 10mm Kings of War, Lions or Dragons Rampant. Don't let them sit and gather dust. They're in the loft, mate. They're in the boxes. They'll never see the light of day, to be honest. If I want to play Kings of War, I'll play Kings of War with the Kings of War miniatures I've got. I'm not fussed about Dragons Rampant. I don't feel the need to kind of like dig them out to like force them to be used in something. Like if I play Kings of War, there's nobody else playing 10mm Kings of War kind of thing. So yeah, I just don't. I like the big models. I like the big monsters, and I've got the big dragon and stuff like that. I like the big stuff, but the little ones, nah, they've just got no use for them, mate. Kodos says a Brazilian army with Joan of Arc would be amazing for Kings of War, but it wouldn't match with anybody else's. That's the problem. It would be a completely different scale to everybody else I played. John says, sounds like a fun way to go to a show and make a weekend of it. That's exactly how I see it, mate. It's a weekend away. It's not just, I'm not just going for a shopping trip. Like most of the time, I don't really buy much, if anything at all. It's a chance to kind of to meet up with all of the different like companies that I get to chat to, like sort of the companies that I might never get to sort of see face to face. I might contact them by email and stuff like that, and I get a chance to have a chat with them. So I set up like meetings and things with different companies, but it's an opportunity to sit and have a beer and catch up with people that I might only get to see once a year and kind of and hang out and play games. There's a big area where you can play board games and stuff. You can play miniatures games. If you take stuff with you, there's a massive big board game library there where you can just rent stuff out. I think it's free. You just take games out of the board game library and just play them. Ian saying Grimdark Future and Age of Fantasy are great. Barry saying Battletech equals combat math. Lots of charts. I love it. Yeah, charts are not my thing. Josh says Renton's Reject to a lot more variety to paint up. Yeah, I do love Dreadball. Yeah, me too, mate. Josh is saying I'm hoping to get my first Age of Fantasy skirmish game in this weekend with a buddy. Nice one. John says sounds like Fan Expo in Toronto. Catering was abysmal. Pizza slice and pop $10. Yeah, it's the problem with Salute for me is it's in a big kind of like it looks like an aircraft hangar basically where it is. It's in like a convention center, but it's just one big room, and it is essentially like it's walking around lots of stalls with things for sale. And the way I've explained this in the past is it's quite expensive for me to go to London for the day. It probably costs me in the region of about 150 quid on the train to go all the way to London to walk around a hall with like things for sale that I can buy online generally cheaper. The show deals are never like fantastic type thing. If you're into like sort of like historical gaming, it's much more historically focused. There's lots of historical stuff if you're into that. I'm not really, so I find it's like it doesn't have the appeal to me. And it's nice to meet up with a few people and kind of stand and have a chat and have a bit of a chat with them. But the problem is that there's nowhere to go and like sit. It's not like you can say, oh, I'll see you down there. We'll get a table and we'll play a game or something like that. There's just nothing else happens. It's really hard to get demo games because there's not a lot of opportunities to get demos. Most of it is like almost like display games where people are like there's different war games clubs come and set up like a table and they basically play the game themselves and you just kind of like stand and watch them type thing. It's great to see some beautiful tables up and you can wander around looking at the beautiful tables, but it's a long way to go to just kind of wander around a hall. And I every time I've been over the last few years, I've just found it's got worse and worse. And like I said, the last time I went, there was more and more companies who were basically advertising Kickstarters that were coming out, so it wasn't even like they had stuff to sell. So yeah, for me it's just not worth the expense and it's not worth the travel anymore now. I think the only thing I bought at the last Salute I went to was I bought a gaming mat because I basically saved the money. It was from who was it from again? I bought my Star Wars Legion mat from Deep Cut Studios because I didn't have to pay the shipping. So I basically kind of like came back from London with a gaming mat. That was it. And I even probably bought that because I felt like I had to justify buying something. Like I had to justify the expense of going down there by buying something. I think that's pretty much how it happened. Rob says, are you going to go to Gen Con when the world is open for those things? I'm not sure about Gen Con, mate. I'm definitely going to Adepticon. Adepticon's planned to be on again next year. I had tickets to go to Adepticon last year and flights booked and hotels booked. Unfortunately, obviously, that all got cancelled. So yeah, I will be going to Adepticon. I'm not sure if I go to Gen Con. I like board games, but not to the point where I feel that I'd need to go all the way to Indianapolis for Gen Con. I think Adepticon's probably good enough for me. Josh says, got a lot of model agnostic rule sets I want to try out this year as COVID restrictions lift. Star Breach, one-page rules, Stargrave. Yeah, there's plenty of them about, mate, that's for sure. Sunday Syke says, I'm confident I will get Curse City for my friendly local gaming store. It's the only store in 150 kill ranges, and I have a good relationship with have a good relationship with GW, but knowing they're regulars, there's only a couple of us who actually want to get it. I tell you what, mate, I hope your store gets a couple of copies. That's the worry at the minute, is that the GW are really holding back on that kind of stuff. Lord Maiden saying, thank you. I should do them in time to send you a picture on Monday. Thank you, mate. Derek says, I'm not a Salute fan either, but I managed to spend the whole day there and only spend £30, and there are seats in the cafe in the hall. To be honest, mate, the cafe is just like a coffee. It's just a coffee van. It's not really like a cafe as such. And those seats are like, they're always taken because there's nowhere else to seat. There's not enough seats for everybody. And I think the way you get seats in that little cafe area is if you wait until the afternoon, because by that point most people have had enough and they've gone home. Honestly, like what it needs is it needs more space. It needs other things to do. Like if you go to places like Gen Con as an example has like painting classes, it has demo games, it has like what they called like seminars and stuff. UK Games Expo has all these kind of things as well. Salute is just a shopping trip with a few plastic chairs to sit next to the coffee van. Like that for me, it's stuck in the old days. It's stuck in how old kind of wargaming conventions used to be. I don't think it's moved on. Rob says everyone should come to Nova Open next year. I'd love to go to Nova Open at some point, mate. I've heard really good things about that. James Bray says I go to XL every year and it's a soul-destroying place. A fun escape room in its basement though. I didn't know that it had that, mate. Tony says I'd love to do a social on Expo. I just wish I could, as long as I wasn't in a mass of people and had a safe anchor person to make me feel safe. To be honest, mate, I think a lot of the big expos are probably way too crowded there. They do have like thousands of people there. But my plan is to have our little BlackJack Legacy Con again. I mean, we've done a couple of our tabletop legacy ones that we did before, and there was like sort of 70, 80 people there, something like that. But yeah, if we get a little BlackJack Legacy Con going once things get back to normal, it'll be a nice kind of safe space for you, mate. You won't feel bad. You'll be around people that you know. So yeah, we should definitely do that. Christian says, why not do a raffle, a giveaway for Joan of Arc stuff? £1 gets you one entry after postage costs. The excess money could go to charity or back to your business costs. To be honest, mate, I think the problem is the cost of the postage would be absolutely astronomical. There is so much stuff. I mean, I don't even know if people are interested in it, to be honest. If people are interested, let me know. Jared says, UK Games Expo is good because you can shop, do some gaming, see previews of games. I saw a few previews there last time. If I said I didn't spend much, I'd be a liar, though. I went thoroughly mental. And that's okay if you plan for that, mate. But for me, it's definitely not about the shopping experience, although it's nice to buy some stuff while you're there. I like to sit on a night time and have a beer and sort of hang out with folks as well. Jared saying only downside of UK Games Expo is the too many Brummie accents. It is in Birmingham, so yeah, that explains it. Ian says, I'm slowly building out to do battle reports for Kings of War and Age of Fantasy, but I'm a slow painter. Yeah, that's always been my downside with those bigger games as well. What are we up to here? Tizzy Brain Drain says, I second that idea. Harry Don says, trains in the UK are crazy expensive. They are, mate. They're an absolute fortune. John Ashley says, same for me. Go to Toronto for a convention or show. You need to spend a lot of money, so I don't go every year. Tizzy Brain Drain says, I need to go to Gen Con one year. Cardos Darkforge says, hello, by the way. Says, eat at Portillo's when you go to Depticon. I will do. I'll make a note of that one. Rob says, Gen Con is also minis games. GW, Corvus Belly, Steamforged, FFG are all there with player run events and such. Yeah, it's definitely got more miniature stuff than it used to do. But I think if you're more into the miniature side, I think Adepticon's probably good enough. I think at some point I'd like to go and explore it and see what it's about. But I think I'd do Adepticon first, though, that's for sure. Derek says, you did go to a different salute, though I got all my expenses paid by driving the trader down from Scotland. I wouldn't pay for myself. The thing is, mate, if you're going down to meet a lot of friends, then maybe that's a worthwhile trip. So going down to meet people is worth the trip. But if it costs you like 150 quid to get down there, and you're there and back in a day, like because there's no point kind of hanging about because it's not on the second day. There's nothing to stay for. That you're not going to make a night of it kind of thing and come back the next day, because then it's even more expensive because then you're paying for a hotel in London, which generally is on the same weekend as the London Marathon as well. Most times, I find Salute just does not have enough to justify going there, mate. I made a video about it ages ago about why I'm not going to Salute ever, why I'm not going to Salute again. Tony says, anything... Oh, sorry, Tasty Brain Drain says, also Gen Con has a lot of RPGs as well. Tony says, anything beyond my front door is outside my comfort zone, which I'm gutted about, as I love to catch up with so many of you. One day, mate, you will. Jared says, will you be doing Warhammer Fest Games Day, Andy? I'm not sure, mate. I've never done it before because I've never really been that deeply into the into GW games. That there is stuff I like about GW, but I'm not massively passionate about Horus Heresy and about all the 40k lore and all that kind of stuff. So because it is very much, it's obviously GW focused, I'd go for a bit of a look about and stuff, but I'm not sure there's enough for me personally really to kind of keep my interest. I do like to go to Warhammer World though and wander around around the museum and stuff and play games and hang out in Bugman's. Maybe like I've been for like a Warcry tournament and stuff there. I've been just for a day out. So I do like to go to Warhammer World. So for me, probably a trip to Warhammer World is better than Games Day. Lee Russ says, totally agree with you about Salute. UK Games Expo is top level for me. Really gutted last year, couldn't go ahead. Yeah, me too, mate. It's been a real shame. I hope things are kind of safe enough for this year's to go ahead. I heard you guys talk about it in your podcast as well, and I know that you kind of had a little bit of mixed feelings as well. But the way I'm kind of looking at it is that if UK restrictions are lifted in June and everything's gone to plan, then another month and a half later, in theory, restrictions have lifted. Therefore, why shouldn't it go ahead kind of thing is the way I'm kind of looking at it. So yeah, fingers crossed. Marcus says, sweet, my Shanty Half Genie Hero resin model has just arrived in the mail. Nice one, mate. James says, Beachhead is a fun convention in Bournemouth. Only really one day of entertainment, but it's right by the sea. A family weekend. Yeah, unfortunately, mate, but Bournemouth is about as far south as I could go. It's miles away. I think people forget how far north, like, Newcastle is. I'm pretty much, like, we're not far from the border of Scotland. It's miles away. Derek says, we'll just have to disagree. I had a grand day out. I'm not sort of saying everybody else doesn't have a good time. For me personally, it's just not worth the expense, mate. Sunday Sykes says, VJ, can you speak for over in East Coast of Australia? But on the West, I don't know any major gaming expos. I don't even think a small local one in my state. The one I think is it CanCon is the one I know about, obviously in Canberra. I've heard of CanCon, I think, is a big gaming expo, I think. James Brace says, may I suggest the South Coast for BlackJack Con? Get yourself north, mate. Solo Wargaming Show says, flew to England from the USA to attend Salute and agree, a couple of hours of shopping and not much more. It was more justified for me since the UK stuff is hard to get here. There is that element, mate. And if you're coming over from abroad or coming for a special trip, you obviously get to spend a little bit of time in London and do all that kind of stuff. But I've been to London plenty of times. For me, a trip to London itself isn't that exciting anymore. And unfortunately, there's just not enough to kind of to keep you occupied for a full day. John said, oh, sorry, what was that? Tasty Brain Drain says the goal was to go to Gen Con in 2022, but since it's going to be later than usual this year, I might be able to go this year. I'd like to go at some point. I think my plan going to Adepticon is I was always going to go on my own kind of thing, and I'm just basically going to wing it, and hopefully I meet enough people there that kind of are friendly and will kind of help show me the ropes and things. Obviously the guys from Mantic and stuff are out there as well, and they invited me to the Mantic evening and stuff. I had tickets to go to the GW reveal thing as well, which when I was over there. So yeah, so there's plenty of stuff for me to do in Gen Con, in Adepticon, and I'd like to go kind of as a proper gaming weekend. I think if I went to Gen Con, we'd probably make it as part of a family holiday, I think, and maybe like stop off there and like on the way to going somewhere else, I think, as part of a holiday. John says, I never seem to find out about shows until they've already happened. Yeah, I must admit, I keep a track of the big ones, but the smaller ones tend to pass me by. Lord Maiden says, the thing is, Salute was easier and cheaper for me than UK Games Expo. I'm tempted for next year to find a way up there, maybe play the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament again. I can get that, mate. I mean, and there's a big part of it is the cost. One of the reasons I don't enjoy Salute is because it is so expensive to get there. I wouldn't drive to London because parking in London is an absolute nightmare, and it's expensive as well, where I do drive to the UK Games Expo and park up. So that's one thing. I end up getting the train to London. Trains are really expensive, but it's like a 6-hour train. Then you've got to get on the underground. Then you've got to get on the Docklands Railway and get across there. Like I say, it tends to be the same weekend as London Marathon as well. So the trains are busy. Like you've got the Excel Centre where it is where people register for their London Marathon numbers. So it tends to get pretty busy there during the day as well. And for me personally, like as Derek says, he enjoys it. For me, there's not enough there other than wandering around the stalls and that kind of stuff. I can see online. I can get online. As who was it there? Somebody was just saying there about them travelling from abroad. I can see if you can't pick up those things in your local country and it's really expensive to get things shipped and stuff like that, I can see it's actually a pretty good trip. But it's definitely much more historically focused. If you're into historical gaming, if you're into like World War II stuff, Napoleonics, all that kind of thing, if you're into that, it's probably the perfect place to go and pick up some of them obscure minis and books and things that you never get to see. But if you're into 40k, if you're into Infinity, if you're into kind of Dreadball or something like that, you're almost kind of wasting your time, I would say. Tim said, you cheeky buggers. Yow, cheeky buggers. Cardos is saying, hello, bugger. Yeah, sorry, Peyton, while listening. That is okay, mate. Don't worry about that. Christian said, I'd love to go to UK Games Expo. Doubt it will happen this year for me, though. Yeah, you definitely have to give it a try, mate. I think you would love it, mate. It's right up your street. John's saying, Gen Con is September this year. I dig going to that, but I have to get a pardon to cross the border. Busey saying, are the cheeseburgers at Salute any good? That would be something. To be honest, mate, I don't even remember them being cheeseburgers. Where it is, it's in this massive big convention centre, and the problem is like it's like a big corridor down the middle of it, and then there's big sort of convention halls off to each side, and they're all used for different things. Like one year I was there was a big Sherlock Holmes convention or something like that going on as well. So it's full of like sort of different people, and down the middle is where the places are where you can go and eat, but they're nothing special. There's a Subway sandwich place there. There's like some kind of like Greg's the Baker's type thing. There's a sandwich shop. There'll be somewhere that does like pizza slices or something like that. Like they're not great. Where if you go to UK Games Expo, it's at the NEC in Birmingham, and there's like a Starbucks and stuff, and there's like sort of like wood fire pizza places and stuff inside. But when you come outside, there's a whole big area outside where there's kind of like there's a like the Genton Hotel has like 3 or 4 bars inside. It's got like restaurants. There's like Pizza Express, and there's kind of TGI Fridays and all that kind of stuff. It's like a really nice place where you can actually go and kind of go out for a meal in the evening, go and have a few beers, actually like socialise in the evening. And that's what Luke was saying as well. Really, it's the evening socialising that's almost as good, if not better, sometimes than the daytime stuff. Rob saying, you're right about Adepticon being way more minis focused. Nova, he was just saying. Nova's like the East Coast Adepticon. Our Infinity Tournament last time had 60 players. Yeah, is Nova open? Is it Washington, mate? Have I made that up? I don't know where it is, but I seem to remember it being quite a big tournament. I think the Nova's big for 40k, isn't it? Oh yeah, just saying, yeah, 40k had 5 to 600. Marco says, why was UK Games Expo cancelled last year? I think it was just there wasn't much interest for it, mate. Jared says, anyone else just looking forward to the pub opening? Do you know what it is, mate? I am looking forward to going to the pub, but I won't be kind of like rushing to go there as soon as you can go. I think I'm quite happy to kind of let the initial rush die down, and then I'll go later. I think I'd be quite happy just to go like sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon and have a quiet pint while everybody's at work. Lord Maiden says, if you come down for Beachhead, I'll set a bed up here for you. That's very kind of you, mate. Michael Burke says, we are the furthest city north before Scotland. There you go, mate. Exactly. James says, only 5.5 hours from Newcastle to Bournemouth. That's a commute for people who live in the States. 5.5 hours. Is this on some bullet train, mate? John Estel says, the changing COVID rules is right at the end of June, so it might be tight for UK Games Expo. Well, UK Games Expo is the end of July, mate. So it's end of July into August. So it still gives 4 or 5 weeks. Marcus is saying, I think the most fun thing I did at a con in the gaming room was a 20-foot X-Wing miniature Death Star run. It wasn't the one who got to shoot the final shot, but I did keep Raider off the lead. Nice. I've seen like games like that where people are playing like games of X-Wing with big full size, well not full size, but like sort of like the toys as opposed to the miniatures. John says, flights to Southampton can be fairly cheap in normal times, not far from Bournemouth. Yeah, I'll have to look into that, mate. I don't know how much they'd be, actually. James says, to be fair, Andy, Bournemouth is only an hour more from London than from Newcastle. Yeah, and London's a pain in the backside, mate. September works for me because usually Gen Con is right around the same time as the anime convention that I'm on staff. Make it a little difficult to get to. Tim, I remember Tim you were saying you were a volunteer, mate. It's a shame it didn't happen. Christian saying, I think if there's a BlackJack con, it will need to be more centralised so it's easier to reach for most people. Yeah, I'll have to think about where's the best place to have it, because by the same stretch, it needs to be somewhere where I can sort of set up. Otherwise, it means I've got to, like, one of the things I never enjoyed about having it at Element Games was it was too far away for me to actually like set things like to get it ready, if you like. So I'll have to have a think about that one. Lord Maiden says, I can't drive. The train from mine to London is about 50 quid. I'll look at the UK Games Expo for next year. This year's not for me for big events. James says, Andy, have you perked up again? Do you know what it is? I feel like I've come through that kind of sweat. I feel like I've come through that cold sweat and I'm out the other side of it now. John saying, Gen Con's probably the first game convention I'd ever heard about. It's massive, isn't it, Gen Con? I think there's something like, am I right in saying they have about 70,000 visitors? Spanky Taz says, if we could get some of our US friends to come over, perhaps we could get them to load up on copies of Blitzball. You could probably pay for your trip, mate, by selling Blitzball when you get here. What are you up to? Low Maiden, I think so. He hasn't mentioned the time yet. I did see it was past 10:30, mate. We'll go till 11 and then we'll do it, mate. I was starting to flag, but I seem to get a bit of a second wind. Derek says, I enjoyed Salute, but I can and do go to Crisis in Antwerp for the same cost, and that's more enjoyable. To be honest, mate, I've often wondered about going there as well. It's probably cheaper for me as well to go across to Belgium than it is to go to London. James says, for those that don't know, the Excel Centre where Salute is based in the Docklands in London. Very expensive around there, but not far from much cooler spots in London. Yeah, it is pretty expensive actually, mate. I think it's an absolute fortune to just park the car there, to be honest. Where are we up to? VJ saying, for Aussie cons, yeah, CanCon is the big one, but it's normally on when I have a big weekend with VJ, and I think it's Australia Day weekend. Why would they do it then, mate? That seems a bit random to do it then. Tony says, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do the overnight bit, but full-time care a bit gets in the way. We'll sort something, mate. Don't you worry about that. VJ says, so I haven't been since I've been back in the hobby. Ron Rob says, yeah, it's about 17 kilometres outside of Washington, D.C. in Virginia. Super random question. Why is a quid called a quid? It's just a slang name for a pound, mate. I guess it's like when you, instead of you saying dollars, you say like $40. I think it's just slang. I'm sure there's a reason why it's called a quid, but it's just a slang name for a pound. So if you say like 40 quid or 50 quid, it's the same as you saying like $40 or $50, I suppose. James says that's 5.5 hours from Newcastle as in the car. It's more like 9 with trains. Yeah, I must admit the idea of like driving for 6 hours is not fun. I used to do so much driving before in my last jobs. The idea of driving for that length of time is not fun. VJ saying not really sure what other ones around. Cons are not really my jam. You went to Tabletop Minions Expo in the US, but that was to meet and hang out. Yeah, and that's kind of my point really. If you're going to meet and hang out with people, it's worth the trip. V says, if I came to the UK, it would be for BlackJack Con to meet up with you guys. Yes. James says, I had to go to Manchester for an interview for my work. Flying from Southampton cost a third of the price of getting the train, and that included the airport parking. It's a bit mad. It's crazy, mate, isn't it? Barry says, my oldest son turns 17 today. Happy birthday. I saw on Facebook, actually, mate. Happy birthday to your son. I saw them yesterday. Alex got Battletech Game of Armoured Combat for his gift. He raided my 40k stash. Orcs and Tyranids disappeared. Something Creed could never do. Lord Min says, we may have to sort out a party bus to BlackJack's event and back from down south. People would go for that. We'll find a place, mate. But I'm trying to think of something like a bit nicer. I don't like, you know, when you get these conventions in hotels and stuff. I want it to try and be somewhere like a little bit nicer, like something like that. Where we're just kind of like getting a space and there's somewhere to stay close by and things. Just Kev says, hey Andy, when do you think we'll get Curse City? Previews for days now. I think we'll might see pre-orders go up next. Not this weekend coming, possibly the weekend after. Luke says, I'm looking forward to going to Essen Spiel. Now that is a massive convention. Yeah, Essen's never really bothered me much, I'll be honest. That is very board game focused, but Essen's never really been my bag. Christian says, if I got the train to Newcastle, it'll take me 4 to 4.5 hours according to Route Planner. It's a long old drive, mate, isn't it? It's the same when I come down to London for Salute. It's a right old hike, isn't it? John says, family have flown up from Southampton to Newcastle and they've been flexible on times. It's been about 100 quid return. Yeah, that's not too bad, mate, is it? Steve says, night all. Good night to you, mate. Vinci says, because nerds don't do the activities that normies do. Like bathing and personal grooming. Rob says, what the fuck? I thought it was a legit term. No, it's just, Peter says quid pro quo might be the origin of the quid for pound sterling. I'm not sure, mate. I mean, it is just a slang term, isn't it? Just like 40, like 15 quid, 40 quid, whatever it is. It is just slang, but there's obviously a where it's come from. Yeah, Josh Hatch is saying the same thing as well. According to Google, quid is short for quid pro quo or something for something. Great question, never thought about it. There you go, that's where it comes from. So it comes from Latin. James says, stop making excuses, get your horse to Bournemouth. I'll buy you a beer. Only a half though, I'm not making money. I'll be skinned by the time I get there, mate. Although to be fair, the weather will be a bit nicer. And Josh said, I'm late to the answer party. Crabby saying, the quid, I believe, comes from there. You got everybody saying, nice one. I blame the Romans. John says, you could get a full pint in Newcastle for the price of a half in Bournemouth. Some of the bars are going, mate. You could get a pint in Newcastle for the price of a flight to Bournemouth. Tony says, what did the Romans ever give us? And John says, when I visited Scotland in 96, pints were £1. Guess it's gone up. It's a little bit more expensive now, mate, for sure. Anyway, on that note, I am going to call it a night because I am flagging now. And I tell you what, on that screen, I look really pale. But yeah, thank you very, very much for... Oh, John says, Lumley Castle does D&D holidays. It would be well expensive to have BlackJack Con there, but a great setting. Oh, I wonder how much it would be, actually. Yeah, probably would be a lot expensive. James says you can buy a house in Newcastle for the price of a beer in Bournemouth. I can imagine you probably can, mate. Yes, I'm going to call that one a night, mate. Christian, sharing the link for Patreon. Please do give it a check out. I would really appreciate your support. It's what keeps the lights on and keeps me doing this for a full-time job. Thanks very much for the energy tonight as well. Your questions and your chats kind of kept my energy up tonight as well. I hope it hasn't been too... I hope I haven't been too much of a Debbie Downer for you tonight, and I hope I haven't kind of been a bit too under the weather for you. Fingers crossed I feel all right for Wednesday and we do the live stream. I will give you a little bit of notice on Wednesday if it's not going to happen. But yeah, I'm sure I should be okay in a few days' time. But take care, folks, and I will see you when I next see you. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month, and there is lots of different tiers and bonuses which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.